What's up, everybody? It's your favorite show, Get a Bucket. I'm your host, Trent, as usual. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. And as y'all can see, we got my boy on the screen. Some call him a Cowboy fan, you know what I mean? So we got to bring him on to the show one time for the one time. That's right. We gonna throw them jabs in right quick. I had to take my Panther jersey off, bro. I couldn't let nobody, you know what I'm saying? I had it on the last one. I felt a little bad. We gotta do some better things. Mark, how's everything with you, bro?
Man, I'm still in the land of the living. Jerry wants to put me in the early grave. I won't let him. I got health care. It's mandated up here in Rhode Island here, so I'm gonna keep on beating on.
No, I feel that. I feel that, bro. Yeah, I got to say, and we'll talk a little bit more about it later on. But this was probably the first time that I gave y'all like legitimate support, and just know I'm heartbroken.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Like we ain't got to talk. We'll talk about it later on. We'll talk about it later on. But yeah, I did just want to give that tidbit. I was a little hurt. But I do understand where you're coming from, though. So I do feel for you. But Mark, what I want to do is get your thoughts on the actual NFL predictions. Your initial thoughts. I need you to be honest with me, brother, because mine, I got to be honest because my predictions was already out there, and my ticket didn't really do too well. Luckily, I ain't putting no money on FanDuel. Did you bet any sports out of curiosity?
Nah, man, I just moved up here to
Okay.
Rhode Island, bro. That it won't no easy haul, so I ain't had no time fucking around with the Cowboys and nobody else like that. I couldn't afford to
Okay.
take no.
Okay. So look, give me this now. I'm gonna give you the matchups, right? Tell me what was your predictions for the matchups, okay? So we had here the Browns versus the Texans.
So,
Who did
bro,
you have?
honestly, CJ Stroud surprised me. Like, I mean, I know he came along as recent, but I still thought that the Browns were gonna at least be able to do something. I mean, it doesn't help they got shot in the foot by Joe Flacco. I mean, he
But
just
who'd you
went
have though?
like
Who'd you have?
insane.
I'm about to say, just give me the name. Just give me the name. We're gonna talk about all the teams. We're gonna talk about all the teams. So who'd you have
Bro,
game wise?
I had the Browns, but things went a little different, a lot different.
Yeah, brother. All right, cool. So we're gonna be able to talk about a few things. I was a little disappointed as well. How about the Dolphins versus the Chiefs? Who'd you have?
I had the Chiefs, but I did not expect it to play out that way just the same.
Okay, I got you. Obviously, Packers versus Cowboys. You figured your boys
God
was gonna
damn it.
win. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. No, I mean I'm not even trying to throw a jab too, bro. They were just the next. Blame ESPN. Like it was either them next or them last. I don't know.
Nah,
Then
let
we
me get
had
the
here
pay
the
out the
Rams.
way.
Yeah. Then you got Rams versus the Lions. Who'd you have?
I had the Lions, honestly. I felt they would get it together.
Okay. See, I was on the fence about that one personally, so I had some boys on the show. They kind of sold me on the Rams. I ain't gonna hold you. I thought the script writers might have been able to help out with that situation too, but the Lions
Yes.
were impressive, have been impressive this whole season. So yeah, that was quite impressive as well. Now these two games currently, ladies and gentlemen, have not played thus far. So this one, Mark, you did pretty well on the predictions thus far. Um, well, two for well, yeah, three out of one ain't bad. Three out of one ain't bad. Well, no, two for two. I'm sorry, you said Browns, not Houston. Who did you have for Steelers versus Bills?
Gotta ride with the Bills, man. Gotta
You
Bills
riding with the
Mafia.
Bills? Okay,
Gotta ride with the
okay,
Bills.
okay. I got you. Same. And then also Eagles versus Bucks. Who'd you have?
I came from Tampa. Gotta go with Tampa. Gotta go.
That's
Gotta
tough.
ride with Tampa, man.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. I'm hating on Tampa because Baker's the quarterback, and he was on my boys last year, and y'all saw how last year shook with him. So that's the reason why I'm saying I'm not really rooting for the Bucks personally. But it's another story for another day. But okay, all right. So ladies and gentlemen, y'all heard the predictions. So let's see if they're right. Hopefully, Mark, you're doing better than myself, brother, because it's been a tall task. Thus far in these here playoffs right now, predictions wise. I can't hold you. Some storylines have been forming. So with that being said, I just wanted your thoughts real quick, bro. Texans versus Browns. What was the biggest takeaway? One, just the biggest for you. What was the biggest takeaway?
Bro, all right, so I'm gonna give you the biggest takeaway, but it's gonna be subdivided. One, I gotta say the GM there, he is on the money. He is on the money, man. Parlaying that,
Was
they had that little trade up. They were able to get what's his name, Will Anderson, the edge. Nice. And was able to pick up CJ Stroud. honestly, they're 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 on the money, man. They're on the money. I didn't think that they would be able to figure out the Browns defense, which have been really one of the the top tier defenses. They basically shut out Myles Garrett, one of the premier pass rushing edges. Also, they neutralized Jeremiah Wusu-Koramoah. Honestly, a great uh, safety defensive back, joker of all trades type of guy. I didn't think they would be able to do that. They also were shot in the foot by Joe Flacco. I thought he would have played a little bit better. Being that he's a veteran, dude played with Ray Lewis, dude played with Ed Reed, played against Troy Polamalu, like top tier Hall of Fame greats, and then he went out and laid an egg. So, I think he kind of went out with a whimper. He did what he was supposed to do, but you can Father Time catches us all, man, and this should be his last ride.
Yeah. I think it's interesting to point out what you said about the GM. I think a lot of times people get slack for making trades, right, or trading star players, what people see as perceived as early premature. And we got to look at it. Deshaun Watson, his situation was tricky, and they were able, bro, to bounce back from that relatively quickly. So you're spot on. I think that might actually need to be the biggest takeaway. I know a lot of people would focus on CJ Stroud, which I do think you need to, right? Like the man played pretty well. Now, again, I would like to throw out there he did not outplay Bryce Young when we played them and we won. But to me, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's like one of the only few things I can even say about CJ. He's outperformed everything that I thought he was going to do. I called him overrated. So I think you're spot on in saying that the GM might need to be the biggest takeaway because at least talent wise, folks are saying CJ Stroud is him. So if he's in the right situation, that's the biggest storyline because now CJ Stroud might have a lot of success because of his environment. So I'm glad you actually brought that out, bro. See, like you follow football more than I do, so I need that point brought out. Is there a big takeaway for the Browns for you out of curiosity or?
Yeah, I got one, bro. They're fucked, and here's why. You give Deshaun Watson all of that guaranteed money. The NFL has a salary cap, so you're effectively starting to kneecap your own franchise. Not to mention, man, prayers up to Nick Chubb, and all of that. However, you have to plan for the future. You know what I mean? You have to, it's a week to week type of league. However, injuries, you
Yeah.
have to backfill those injuries. You also got to start prioritizing the talent where it needs to be. And the QB position usually takes up a lot of that salary cap. They have a lot of
Mm.
issues they need to address, and I don't think that they'll be able to do that with that albatross of a contract and with Deshaun Watson starting to become injury prone.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's a little interesting to see how they'll form. I know over the last two seasons, this one included, the Browns have been called a sleeper contender, right? And I actually could see it too, because one of those years I said that. So it's kind of sad, really. The potential was there, but now I do kind of agree with you. It does seem a little uphill, like an uphill battle is forming for the Browns. So I actually think they might be a little step or two lower than the Bills, but they also can bounce back too. It's just I kind of put them in that. If I want to be basketball related, I kind of put them in that Clippers situation. They might not be healthy come into the season, and I think that was a big factor. Also, their defense on the road that was huge for me because they looked trash on the road apparently. So yeah, Browns could be a little tough. Could be a little tough, but all right, so those are the biggest takeaways so far for that round. What was your biggest takeaway for the Chiefs and Dolphins, bro? Like, what was your biggest takeaway? Let's start with the Chiefs, actually.
So for the Chiefs, man, again, Andy Reid does it again. Again, you are. What's the joint? I forget the name of the movie, but they were like, "Don't bet on black." Again, don't bet against Mahomes, man. I know they were kind of, they had their bumps and bruises, but again, that's a playoff pedigree team. You know what I mean? So you can't discount them out. No matter how they start playing trash in the season, they're gonna get it together. The record, the record denotes that. However, again, bro, like that is just my biggest takeaway. I did not expect. I mean, I know the weather was working against the Dolphins per se, but again, it's still a football league. You know what I mean? But I would just that would be my biggest takeaway. Championship caliber team. They finally are starting to hit on all cylinders and figure it out.
Okay, okay. Now I'm actually a little surprised at the Chiefs, bro. I can't hold because I've been hearing this entire time about how they don't have no receiving core. Like I brought my boy Chris onto the show, and he was telling me he was like, "Oh, who do they have?" And I'm like, "Well, dang. I mean, Travis Kelsey is playing now, but wide receiver, I do hear you. But now we got old boy Rice who did his thing last night. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm like, they could be a formidable playoff team when their wide receivers are working the way they doing. Because now Travis Kelsey isn't the sole focus. So yeah, you are right. It is tough to bet against the Chiefs. Do you out of curiosity, do you favor them getting back to the Super Bowl? Out of curiosity, just yes or no. We didn't got to get into it. I'm just curious.
Bro, honestly, it's tough, but like I ain't gonna bet against them. I mean, it's the what I would
Okay,
say top two. The top two would be for me the Ravens and the Chiefs, man. I mean that's
okay,
where I slot my
that's a solid
chips.
matchup. Okay, that'd be a solid matchup. That'd be a solid matchup. Now, what was your biggest takeaway for the Dolphins too? Because I get you on the Patty Mahomes situation, but what's your biggest takeaway from the Dolphins? I feel like you could take away a lot.
I would say one big takeaway for me is growing pains, and what I mean by that is that the head coach. I mean, that's one of the youngest head coaches in the league. I mean, so there's
Hmm.
some bumps and bruises to be expected. Also, I will
Right.
say, I mean, we kind of discount it because we're at home watching it on our TVs and that sort of thing.
Hmm.
But the weather does play a big deal, and I can talk about it just a little bit. Just coming from Tampa now, I'm in Providence, bro. It's like 30 degrees every day. Like I'm fucking cold, so I can only imagine you in South Florida, bro. I'm talking like everyday temperature can't get no lower than about 70 degrees. So then you have
Yeah,
to go and play it outdoors. I
it's a
mean,
little
like
different.
we take that weather for granted, you know what I mean? But like just to see how that can also kind of tip the scale a bit.
Yeah. Do you feel like the big? Because I think maybe one of the biggest, to your point, home court advantage, right? That's what we're talking about essentially. And I think in places like for example, the Nuggets in Denver, that altitude helps out, right? So sometimes the weather does favor a team, and I think that does help you out and gives you an advantage over the other teams because whether you go to your house or theirs, you're prepared. So should the Dolphins, because this is my biggest takeaway, I think the Dolphins should treat the regular season like it is the playoffs. Like you need that home court advantage because if you go to your house their offense, when hitting, is arguably the best. So if you can put yourself in the best situation, I think that needs to be the biggest takeaway. Because for me, their defense was injured. Offense, like I saw Tyreek did his thing a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like the offense can be streaky, but again, if that defense if that defense turned out to be what I thought it was going to be, they could have made something work. So for me, I think the biggest takeaway, I don't want to say health because that's everybody's issue, right? Is really just taking that regular season seriously, not for granted, because they got to put themselves in the best situation. They're one seed, home court advantage all the way through, a home field advantage all the way through. It's a different story, possibly. You still possibly lose, but you at least put yourself in the best situation. So
One more thing
that's
to
how I
that
was looking
point
at it.
though. That and again that goes with some of the growing pains for the head coach. That one of the head
Mhm.
coach's chief responsibility is get your people ready to play. Through all weather types and terrain, ATV, get ready. I mean that sort of thing. And
That's
so
true.
I feel like it's a growing experience for him. And I feel like maybe next year, we might see some growth in that area there because playing in that type of weather, that's a whole different
Hmm.
ball game. You can't go air raid offense and all of that when it's sub-zero
Hmm.
degrees outside. You're gonna have to learn how to utilize the running game or that sort of thing and adapt. And I felt like he didn't really do that. And so
Mm.
I that to me, to your point, like I agree, home court advantage is a thing. I mean, my boys, we was a different team when we were at home. I completely agree with you there, but I'm just saying my he dude got to have his team ready to play.
I get that. I get that. Prep. You got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. I feel that too. I'm curious if they could ever make like a stadium that could replicate the different environments out there. So let's say, for example, you're in Florida, right? And you can make an indoor stadium and you can make the arena feel extremely cold. You make the ground extremely cold. So now guys can practice
Started
and get
place.
prepared
Hmm.
just in case. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's the thing. I don't know. Technology wise is advancing, so maybe they already got that out there. But that would be something that I could think of. That's the only way you can actually replicate these environments or like get true experience and prep time and good practice. So, because just going to somewhere for like a day or two is not going to help you practice. Like you can get a
Agreed.
little feel for it. So that yeah, I'm curious how that will advance. So, but yeah, no, I get you on that one. Now, what's your what's your thoughts on the biggest takeaway from the Lions and Rams? Let's start with the Lions.
So for the Lions, I mean, it's honestly a nice story to watch, man. Like, don't get me wrong, the city of Detroit, nothing against you guys, but I just something about that city. Bro, it looks like Baghdad, American Baghdad. But got much love for y'all. But it's just a nice story coming at a nice time, bro. So like I'm rooting for him. I mean, like I saw something where Calvin Johnson, they're like, they had a tweet for him, and then he waited until they made the playoff to respond to the tweet. So something special brewing in Detroit. You know what I mean? So my biggest takeaway is first off, tip of the cap to Dan Campbell, who's
Hmm.
honestly got his team fired up and ready to play, and like the plan is starting to come together. That's the process I think that Philly on the basketball side has been trying to get to, and they just haven't crossed that hump. I guess that would be
I'm
the
trying.
analog. You know what I mean? So tip of the
Okay.
cap there.
Okay. Okay. Um, I think for me, and that's a good point to bring up. I think for me, the biggest takeaway is one. Well, this is just a tidbit. I'm actually happy that we're now past the days where they were 0-16 because that was too consistent
It
for
was
me. They
fun
didn't
to
go
watch
consistently
though.
0-16. Fun to watch is aggressive, bro. Like I don't know about that. That's disgusting work right there, my boy. But seeing where they went from that era to now, seeing how Dan Campbell has actually motivated the players. I mean, last year, it's not like they were overly stellar, but he motivated his team. So my biggest takeaway is, hey, coaching really does matter, and I'm glad that players or coaches like him, Ron Rivera when he was on my Panthers, like good coaches will tend to show up, especially. And I'm happy when they struggle and then turn it around. So I'm actually kind of hoping the Lions continue to actually play well. And I didn't think they were going to win the division at the start of the season too. So I'm really happy that I was wrong. But that was my biggest takeaway from the Lions. I still don't know if they're a contender or not, but a fun team at least to watch, like a heartfelt moment to me at least. What was your biggest takeaway on the Rams? Because again, I was sold on the Rams because I was torn. If I was going based on my gut, I would have said Lions. Um, but I also felt like, you know what, maybe they are a little too young. And again, we were just talking about them being 0-16. So we both were on the same page with the Rams. What was your biggest takeaway for the Rams?
My biggest takeaway is there's some roster churn that needs to happen in order to get them back where they were. I mean, yes, you had injuries, and like you said, all teams have injuries. However, some of these injuries have been detrimental. On top of that, the age of some of these superstars and stuff like that, you got to start to take into account. What's the next step? So I think based on this game, my biggest takeaway is one. First off, tip of the cap to Puka Nakua. They got a star in the making there. However, they have some roster issues to figure out to get them back to where they were.
I, I it's tough because I agree with you. I think you could make some tweaks. I thought they had enough. You mentioned Puka Nakua, which I love, buddy. Like I think
Hey,
he's
he
going to be
got
a
me second
solid
place.
addition. You know what I'm saying? I'm weak. Hey, I'm about to pick him up next year on fantasy if he's available. But pairing him with Cooper Cup, and then on the defensive side, if Aaron Donald's still there, bro, that might be you might be able to make something shake with that. Sean McVay is still head coach, so I do think again this postseason meeting might have been a little premature, um, but given the road that they had, I thought it was potentially doable. At least getting to the Super Bowl or at least making some sort of noise into the playoffs. So I kind of agree with you when I say like you make some tweaks, but then again, I don't want to make too many as well. But if there was one, what would you say is the biggest move like roster wise that they need to do? Like who if there was a person in mind that they could get or should get, who would that be for you?
I think it's more so the aging roster. So like what I mean by that is like Aaron Donald's still on the top of his game, but
Mm,
he ain't Aaron Donald that we used to come and know. You know what I mean? Like so he
not in his
starts showing
prime,
age a
not in his
little bit.
prime, yeah.
So you have to start piecing. So if we know that yes, this is our God, but like starting to show a little bit of age, like JJ Watt, you got to start pairing him with other people. So I think some of their top, if they're going the defensive route, then they got to start
Mm,
looking at some of these top tier edge rushers maybe or something like
okay,
that to take some of that pressure off to let Aaron Donald do what he do, but also
okay.
supplement what he has due to the fact that yes he's a little bit older now. On the offensive side, I think they don't. I mean, it may be some offensive line issues. Maybe they can address that in the draft. Maybe,
Mm,
but like you said, I mean, bro, like they have enough on offense to get the job done. It's just I
yeah.
think maybe looking at some offensive line because I forgot one
Mm,
of the left tackle's name was Haverstein or something like that. They're older,
mm.
man, so you got to start backfilling.
So, so just because you said O line, and then you said and you were talking about defense as well. So, if you had to choose one, O line or helping Aaron Donald, who would you? Which route would you go first?
I got to go defense. Defense win
Okay,
championships,
okay.
man.
So you
And I still
okay?
think
I
that's
got
the
you. Because I hear that too. Because they say that in basketball as well. But I do know we've also talked about the championships are won in the trenches. So that O line is the reason why I asked that question as well. So okay, I get you on that. I get you on that. So Rams, y'all might want to focus on the defense. If y'all can sneak in an O line player, sure, why not? But that's what my man's here saying. So all right, that was those are the biggest takeaways, ladies and gentlemen. Um, Mark, we're here. You know what I'm saying? We're here.
I'm about to get off the
What was
phone,
your
man.
biggest what what was your biggest takeaway from the Packers, man? Like, what was your biggest at the Cowboys game? Let's start with the Packers first.
For the Packers, okay, I would just tip the cap to Jordan Love. Also,
Mm.
his coach and everything, they had him ready to play. And so, in an instance where we came out flat and fucked ourselves, they were ready to capitalize. I didn't even watch the game, bro, because I wanted to enjoy my weekend holiday. So I got the what's that Sunday ticket. I was like, man, I'm gonna watch the game later. But then something was like, bro, get on Facebook and see. Then I was getting clowned in the comments already. I was like, yeah, I'm enjoying my night. Like,
The memes
but
already were good, bro. Like, yeah, I remember what was it? It might have been 2018 or something like that, where I think Dak and them are y'all were doing really well, and then they lost, and someone was like, "Dak's all, folks." You know what I'm saying? Like the memes were already swarming when y'all started losing.
yeah, bro.
I put money on y'all getting to the Super Bowl, my boy. So I trust me, I was a supporter. So last night I was definitely hurt, Mark. I don't know if I can put money on y'all again, dog. I
Bro,
don't know if I can do
I
that
wouldn't
again,
even
bro.
be mad at you, bro. Like I
God,
should
it's
give
so
you half your
tough.
money back, bro. What the fuck, man,
I'm
bro? Like,
crying. I'm crying. But
bro,
look, I gotta
something
say
told
though.
me not to watch it, bro. Like, because I was like, bro, like it's
Well,
been
look.
a
All right. So
long
look, I'm
weekend.
gonna I'm gonna say two things. I'm gonna say two things. My biggest takeaway, right, for the Packers is I think their stance of sitting quarterbacks and letting them actually develop does work, and people should allow that to continue. Like people should actually do that because let's say your quarterback is mid. Well, when he does start, he's not going to look mid. So you can at least build and expand upon that, and that gives him that confidence. So for me, I'm looking at the Packers and saying I tip my cap to y'all. Um, Now for this Cowboys thing, bro. Yeah, like I thought y'all had enough, bro. Like I really thought the script writers had it
This
right for
nigga
y'all. The
talking about the
defense was
script
gonna be
writers.
man, like no, hear me out, dog. Like the defense was straight. It was one of the top ones all year. Despite all of Dak's quote unquote woes, he was playing fairly well. Like I remember hearing a couple of analysts talking about how he's been doing pretty well over the last couple months. 10-2 or something like that, or 20-2 or something like that, touchdown interception ratio, or 15-2, something like that. Like that's pretty good to my for my record. So I'm like, there's a shot. Like this year seems open. Like that was it's tough. What was what was your biggest takeaway? Would you say to this Cowboys team?
Biggest
I mean,
takeaway,
I'm gonna let you get on your soapbox too, bro. Like,
because I'm
because
about
it's
to
yours.
stand
Go,
up.
go.
I'm only 5'9", boy. I'm about to stand up. What I'm about to say, I might as well be 6'5". What the fuck? What the fuck is the biggest takeaway? That really, like, that's what they should just hang on everybody's lockers. What the fuck? Do we want to, like, I used to have a coach, he said, you want to mildew or barbecue? Every time we come out flat, we come out, we get punched in the teeth, we get fucked over, and we get bent over with no lube. And so the issue is, Dan Quinn is a motivator. He's a great coach. We've been playing man fucking defense damn near all year, and you come out in goddamn zone. Why do you do this? Why would you do this? Just why? That's one of my biggest gripes is Dan Quinn. Bro, when you're competent, when you choose to be competent, but you shit the bed when you try to get cute. Some of us look, if you are told, be a told and be the greatest told you can be. You don't just be a told all your life and then all of a sudden become a goddamn vampire bat. It just doesn't happen. If we've been doing this one thing and we've been winning, why the fuck would you get cute and do something completely different? And then we're getting torched at it all
I got a
year.
question. I
If
got a
you were
question.
able to see, bro.
I got a question. Do you believe? Okay, so in going into the playoffs, right? I'm trying to just ask as a coach. Right? I'm just thinking about it as maybe he's thinking this way. Do you want to try and hide some of your schemes, maybe? And you believe,
No,
what
not when it
Jordan
comes to
Love?
man,
Okay,
bro. If you playing
okay.
man, god damn it, you been playing man. Look, we playing man. It's nothing to disguise. We playing man. You gonna have to beat us mano y mano, and we trust our rushers to get home. When you're playing man, you don't have to get cute. When you're playing man, you don't have to worry about people blowing assignments because why? We're playing fucking man. The person you see across, that's your guy. And if you get beat, we know why. It's you. You can't get confused. You know what I mean? Like, bro, like that is one of my. So this is Dan Quinn. That's one of the takeaways. As much as he's a motivator, maybe he should be a D-line coach. You know what I mean? Because he
Mm.
motivates people to play for him. But the thing is, why the fuck would you play zone? And we've been winning playing man. Man coverage is predicated on the defensive rush getting home. If you don't think the defensive rush can get home, then you start to adjust. Then you can disguise it. You can still play man because this is what our corners know. However, we can disguise it when you think it's a zone or something like that, bro. Like we were getting torched. And then we haven't addressed the run defense. We picked Mozzie Smith. I know defensive tackles take a while to develop, but
Right.
goddamn, scheme, do something, bro. Like that
So
is the
can y'all?
biggest takeaway. There's two takeaways. I'm on my soapbox long time. One, Dan Quinn. I mean, bro, like he's a motivator, good D line coach or whatever. So I mean, but he needs to be reevaluated. That's true. That's number one. So if somebody else want to take him, see what you could get in the Q form, and if the shit add up, let him go. Two,
Okay.
Mike McCarthy, you are not without goddamn blame, bro. You have to adjust. He has I think this should be his last year. I mean, I get it. Father Time
But that's
stretches
been said
all.
though. That's been said though. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Because I heard this before. And I was actually told that, Dak Prescott was going to lose his job to Trey Lance in the season. Should you pivot and give Trey Lance a shot? Because I mean, maybe I'm biased, but you can't really go wrong with a dude named Trey. That's all I'm saying, bro. Like
This nigga
we
here.
cool. We
The issue is Dak has a no trade clause, so you would have to kind of massage those numbers and work
you
that
have to
out.
sit him.
I don't
You'd
know,
either have to
bro.
sit him or send him to a contender. Is there a contender that might want Dak Prescott?
I can see that honestly. To be real, Baker Mayfield, man, bro, he's a cool guy. He actually pops out
The
in the Tampa Bay
Bucks?
scene. But no. What I'm
The
saying though is he
Bucks?
could go to Tampa, and I think they may have some more success because Dak is better than Baker. Even though again, Baker's a cool guy. I mean, I mean, I even met him once. Like, bro, like, dude is a cool guy. He mixed it up in the Tampa scene. So, I mean, tip of the
Okay,
cap for him
okay,
for that. And
okay.
but Dak got a stronger arm than Baker. So some
A
of
little
them,
more mobile, yeah.
and then some of those balls were like, yo, Mike Evans is wide the fuck open. Dak can get it there at least. You know,
Okay,
Baker
okay,
fall a little short there. I mean, I couldn't do it, but then again, I'm not making that type of money.
okay, okay. Interesting. My only thing is, brother, my team is in that division, so I don't really want too much competition. I'm trying to get into the playoffs, so, but I could see that though. I could see interesting. I'm trying to think what other team could he go to, but then also I'm trying to think what other team would Dallas be willing to trade him to as well, and what would that
Seahawks,
trade
bro.
look like in return? So that would be interesting. I got to see. We got to have that discussion another day. But do
I
you
can tell
think
you
though
though,
you
bro.
should?
Seahawks. If we send Dak over there,
Nah. They
bro,
like
bro, no, 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 no. Pete the
Gino's good enough.
scenario though. Pete the
Gino's good
scenario
enough.
because the return would be that 6'4" corner, bro. That would be the return. And if we get that, we get that 6'4" corner. Then
You
Trayvon
don't
Diggs
think?
is coming back. Deron
You don't think?
Bland, he actually has taken a step forward. We starting to build something. We cooking with hot grease.
Tell me though why the Seahawks would take. I'm about like, oh my gosh, this is about to go long. Like this is
Bro,
about
I'm
to be
chilling, man.
long.
Shit, sweet,
Why
bro. So don't
why
worry
why
about it.
why would the Seahawks take Dak Prescott over Geno when Geno's at least done them pretty well? Like
Okay,
you know what
so
I'm saying? Like I
all right. Let me tell you. So here's the difference. Why? The difference is Dak is a better QB than Geno Smith. Just simple, simple, simple,
but
simple.
is he no, but is he better enough to give up that corner that you're talking about? Because I got to think risk reward, right? So if
Okay.
I'm getting Dak Prescott, I think that thing I'm thinking I can get to the Super Bowl, which you got here DK Metcalf, you got Tyler Lockett, you got their rookie as well. I forget his name. But like you got a solid little wide receiver or a solid three-headed monster over there. So maybe Dak Prescott with those three boys can get the job done. But how much of a dip does that defense take? Because you lost the corner now. So will Dak get you to that Super Bowl and make up that difference? That's how the Seahawks are going to think. So do you think that would be worth it?
So I mean, I can only argue honestly from a Dallas perspective, but I can see both sides of the coin just because I mean I can see it. So the difference would be Geno Smith is a serviceable backup. To be honest, like you know what I mean. Like I ain't even trying to insult the man. Hey, bro, I'm glad to see another black man successful on Martin Luther King Day. You know what I'm saying? But Dak is a better QB, and QB play usually, and then coaching. Pete, did they just drop Pete Carroll? What's going on? I don't know the coaching
He
situation.
left. He left. He
He
left. He
left.
left.
Okay,
Yeah, he stepped down.
again, that would be a new opportunity. The fresh, you know what I mean, a fresh start with a veteran QB that you know at least has a better pedigree and can do what Geno Smith does and more. So the trade in
Tough,
on the
bro.
back when you're talking about the defense might take a hit, but what are they? They're in the AFC West? I mean NFC West, right? They're in the NFC
NFC
West.
West.
Yeah,
Hmm.
NFC West. Their main I think their main issue would be the 49ers, but the 49ers,
Hmm.
they have the three-headed monster on offense. Like, you know what I mean? Like their offense is leagues ahead of you know what I mean? So if that gets you over in
Yeah.
that, they're like the Pac-10, bro. The OG Pac-10, where like they would just
Okay.
Pac-12,
Okay.
Pac-10, Pac-12,
Okay.
where they just run
Yeah.
up the
There's like.
score. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
air raid football. That's what they do. That sort of thing. So I think that could push them over on that end, and I think it'll be a serviceable trade. We might have to send a third rounder, Dak in the third rounder.
I was about
That
to
should be
say.
enough to get a
I'm
job
curious.
done.
I'm about to say. I'm curious what y'all gonna give up because Seahawks gonna need something back in return because they got to fix that. They got to help that defense, and I'm sure that's a hole to fill too. I'm curious what would happen to Geno in that situation also. So yeah, that's an interesting trade scenario, bro. We going one of these days. I'm gonna come up with like a trade episode where folks just come out with trade ideas, their own ideas, and we just talk about it because I think that you can talk about a lot of different people as well. So I think that's gonna be a solid episode. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what we're gonna do is take a quick hiatus, pay some bills, use the bathroom, do whatever you need to do. We're gonna take a step though out real fast. Come back, talk about the other games though, because the other games we got the recaps going on. But you know, stay tuned.
Sports is one of the few things that genuinely connects us together. Whether with coworkers, friends, family, we all love the entertainment. Well, here on Get a Bucket, my goal is to talk about sports and its cultural impact. The WNBA, for example. The WNBA is loads of entertainment, from the new rookies battling, displaying their skill sets, and preparing to take the league by storm, to the Titans and the MVPs of the league clashing for battles we'll always remember. From imagining the soon to be possibilities to admiring and treasuring the finales. Get a Bucket is a platform where other sports analysts, hoopers, coaches, and fans of the show come and talk about the WNBA, both negatives and positives. So if you haven't, take a quick peek. At the very least, you'll have a good time. Remember, sports is one of the few things that genuinely connects us together. So please, tune in and stay connected.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are back. As you can see, we got a couple of, we ran a couple errands real quick and came right back to it. But Mark, we're going to get right back on into the show, man. It's been a good one thus far. So we talked about a couple teams, but I want to bring up here the next teams to talk about, which it's the Steelers versus the Bills. What was your biggest take? And my fault. I almost forgot to move this. What was your biggest takeaway from the Steelers and the Bills? And again, since the Bills did win, we'll start off with the Bills.
Bills. I mean, it's almost the same thing that I alluded to with the Chiefs. I mean, you got to
Mm-hmm.
play off pedigree. You may
Mm-hmm.
be missing a couple of pieces. You do a couple of tweaks, and then you got the engine still ripping and roaring. I know there was some doubt at first. With excuse me, with Allen and whatnot. But I mean, he's
Mm-hmm.
starting to silence the doubters again. Playing loose and doing his thing. For the Steelers side, it's time for a rebuild. They've been tearing the roster down piece by piece, and now it's getting to the point where literally, like it's time to overhaul.
Okay, okay. For the Bills though, because my biggest takeaway was, they might actually be super. Like, this could be their year. I know we've been talking about Lamar Jackson. They still do have a shot as well. So I mean, I'm gonna say let little man get his let little man get his little PTA. He's trying to see what's up.
Say hey, buddy.
What's up, my man? How's everything?
Now you want to be all shy.
Right now, you want to act shy. You said what?
He said his happy birthday coming. Go tell mommy.
Oh, tough.
There we go. Now we go. Go tell her that.
Hey, we love the kids on the show. We love the kids on the show. Um, but I do think, going back to the topic, I do think what I learned from this, at least my biggest takeaway, the Bills this might be their best year. This might be their best chance to win that Super Bowl. Again, we talked about Lamar Jackson and them. We've also seen Lamar Jackson and the Ravens struggle as well. The Chiefs, they don't look as dominant as they used to be, right? So I mean, at least wide receivers, there's some question marks. So Bills, y'all might have a shot. That was my biggest takeaway, because I was down and out on the Bills personally. On the Steelers side, let me ask you this, because I have a friend, I got a homeboy who actually came on recently and said,
You talking
well, he
about homie
thought,
the dreads?
yeah. So
Yeah,
so you are hip there.
yeah,
What do you
yeah.
think? What do you think about the Steelers going forward, then, bro? Like, do you feel like next year? Because Tomlin says he wants to return, right? I know that was a little question mark, but he wants to return. Um, are you optimistic on the Steelers? Because their division is quite tough. You got the Bengals who are returning. You know what I'm saying? You got the Ravens who are still there. The Browns who they could dip off or they could return depending on how Deshaun Watson. Like, what's your belief in the Steelers going forward?
So going forward, I mean, when it comes to the Steelers, take that to your mom. Going for the Steelers, man. I honestly, again, I just think that it's time for a reset. They've been doing small, uh, you know, mini rebuilds or mini tweaks here and there, and now everything's starting to catch up to them at this
When you
point.
when you say reset, though, do you believe that Tomlin should have been part of that reset, or should be part of that reset?
Yeah, I mean, I ain't gonna advocate to not give a black man opportunity, man, especially a proven black man. So on that, like, I can't say he's out. You know what I mean? And not to mention, I mean, he's brought a sense of continuity That's one thing that you think about when you think about the Steelers. You think about, continuity. Before him, it was what, Cowher or somebody like that, and how
Mm,
literally they're tenured there. I mean, it's almost like those professors that they're be at a higher learning education institution, and then they've been there for 70 years. No matter what, it's to the point where you can't fire. At least got to give him another shot to see if he can get over the hill, just based off of what he's done and just that continuity.
okay, okay. I g- I get that. I get that too. I also think too there is a sense of maybe folks are too loyal sometimes if you're trying to be winners, right? Like not everyone's gonna win, and then after a certain time too, your play style, your coaching style might not be the thing that's getting you over the hump or your team over the hump too. So maybe there's a time that Mike Tomlin maybe this is the time that Mike Tomlin needs to leave. I ain't trying to knock the man out of his job personally. You know, like you said, black man. It's also my frat brother, yo to the noobs. But still, I I ain't trying to say he needs to leave. I'm just
You
saying.
got to give him one more
Uh,
shot. Then got to give
well,
him one
I'm
more
saying
year.
I think it might be the best situation for him to go to the Panthers. Personally, I don't know. Maybe I'm biased. Like you know what I'm saying. Like maybe your boys might want him because I don't know if y'all gonna have y'all coach too much
Nah,
longer.
he
I
ain't gonna
don't know.
fit for
Yeah.
what we got going on, man. And
He
I get
might.
it.
He might be able to add some discipline, some structure. Who knows? But
Jerry
that's what
Jones, though, that is the overarching thing. It is still Jerry Jones' team.
that's tough. That's tough. I mean, y'all keep proving him right, so I guess I can't really be mad at that statement. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Let's go ahead and move on to the next topic here. The next teams. Um, we had the Buccaneers and the Eagles. This one was kind of heartbreaking to me personally for a couple of reasons. Mark, one, I had been told the Eagles were a trash team, and then the Bucks. Um, Baker. Like I was really hoping and not really praying, but I was hoping that they didn't really do well. I thought they were going to be trash at the beginning of the season. Um, what was your biggest takeaway from this game? And let's start with the Bucks since they won.
Biggest takeaway again, man. I already was rooting for Tampa Bay. I just came up from Tampa Bay. This win got me ready to go back to Tampa Bay. And something about the fan base, it's something about the players, the coaches, just that whole. It's a whole vibe. But
Right.
I think Baker Mayfield finally, got the monkey off his back. You know what I mean? This is a feather in the cap for him. I mean, like, and what I mean by that is beating Philadelphia. No one expected him to go in there and then just literally bend them over and deep stroke them like that. I don't think no one expected that. I mean, you might have thought it would have been a close game. You might have thought Baker might have had a case of the Gips, where the meltdown and everything else starts to catch up with him. However, that was not the case. A man's performed. So tip of the cap to Baker Mayfield, and Baker we trust, and that's all. Not to mention also though, tip of the cap to Mike Evans, man. That boy's a rider.
In Baker, we trust is crazy. Because again, just a season ago, it was Baker was not cooking at all. He was not baking, won't even simmering. You know what I'm saying? No sizzle, no pop, no nothing. Matter of fact, I was vouching for Sam Darnold. But my biggest takeaway was for the Bucks. Hey, like there is a redemption tour. Like you know what, Baker he did redeem himself. I got to tip my cap to him, like you said as well. So I don't know how far they're gonna go in these playoffs. I don't know if they're gonna go too much further than what they've already done. But that was my biggest takeaway. Like for them to win our division 3 years in a row now, that's kind of heartbreaking. So I think they have set us. I think they've kind of separated themselves from the rest of the division, and it's kind of heartbreaking to see. Um, now, what was your biggest takeaway from the Eagles? Because this could be a lot as well. But I'm curious, what's your biggest like?
Okay, biggest takeaway. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, so fuck Philly. That's the biggest takeaway. But if I want to jump off of that and try to put my analytical cap on, they got
Please
some
do.
some holes to fill. I mean they got some holes to fill. I also think,
What's the
especially with some
biggest hole? What's the biggest hole if you have to
Well,
put one there?
Kelsey just retired. I heard, and since
Yeah.
having that guy was a bulwark on the offensive line, and it all starts with the snap. If you're on offense, you can't get the snap right, you can't get the playoff. So, he's done an admirable job in stabilizing that line, for years and years. You know what I mean? Especially, the type of QB he's been dealing with. Hurts, he was a rookie. You know, where he's providing that veteran leadership there. You know what I mean? And so that was one of their issues. Also, linebacker was one of their issues to the point they went and got Shaq Leonard. I mean, he was a Pro Bowler at one point, but he had a couple injuries and slowed him down. So they were begging for LB help by the end of by the end of the season. So they got some holes to plug. Also, I mean, they got some strategies to rework too. There's talks of them eliminating the tush push. So we'll see. But overall, it's nice to see Philly lose, and every Philadelphia Eagle tear makes me happy. I'm drinking Philly tears right now.
Okay. I mean, I hear that. I hear that. Um, I think my biggest takeaway was my initial thoughts of Jalen Hurts. I don't want to put all the blame on Jalen. I thought Jalen was a little injured. Um, I don't think Jalen needs to be in that upper echelon quarterback rankings that folks were trying to put him in, right? Good quarterback,
Right.
don't get me wrong. He was in a good situation last year too. Like you talked about the tush push, that's helping you out. That's something to solid to fall back on. It's like he had a really good O line and a really good team around him. That's going to you can go far if you're a solid game manager. So I'm curious how he's going to bounce back. I talked about Baker Mayfield and how he had a redeeming year. I'm curious if that happens for Jalen next year. If not, the Philly fans are probably going to be a little hurt. No pun intended, just a little bit. But like, I'm I'm curious to see. But hey, if he does bounce back though, then maybe the Giants and the Commanders and the Cowboys fans might be a little hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like we'll see how that shakes. But those were my biggest like that was my biggest takeaway from the Eagles. Although I did say I do want to say I was told that they were trash, or someone an Eagles fan thought they were trash when they were like 10-1. I'm like, that's tough to hear, bro. I get why, because like the defense started to like dip and stuff like that. Injuries started to happen. To say they're trash at 10-1 though is kind of tough. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to be too slanderous on the Eagles. Um, I'm just curious how Jalen Hurts advances and you know adjusts going forward. So, but Mark, I am curious because again, the divisional rounds, or I'm sorry, the wild card rounds were done. So now we got to talk about the divisional rounds and our predictions. So let's just go ahead and talk about these. Right, we got Texans versus Ravens. Who you got? 10 seconds. Main reason why. 15 seconds maybe, but main reason why for the
All right,
winner.
this is a tough matchup, but I'm still going to give it to the Ravens. Man, playoff caliber team. Also, you got veteran leadership. Whereas, I mean, C.J. Stroud, man, I think he's an awesome QB. I love what they got cooking in Houston, but I do think, some of that greenness is going to start catching up with him.
Okay. I can see that. I want to lean Ravens as well. Um, but I ain't gonna hold you. The way my predictions have been going, it might be best for me to really pick the Texans if I want the Ravens to win. You know what I'm saying? So, but I predicted the Ravens as well too, bro. But it could be a good game. So I won't be surprised if it's a close one. What's your thoughts on Green Bay versus the 49ers? I mean,
49ers.
you
As
don't
much as
you
like my big brother, man, he's a 49ers fan. Dude's old. I love my big brother. He's a watcher of the show. When you drop it, I let him know. But
that
I
fact.
mean, the 49ers are a complete team. I
They
mean,
are.
honestly, so I'm going to give it to them. Also, I'm salty that we just got drug out and bent over and stroked on national TV. So my saltiness is leaning me towards the 49ers.
Okay. I mean, look, we talked about both one seeds, and again, I kind of agree with you. I think 49ers win this one as well. Um, I don't know, bro. Like that, I do kind of have a gut feeling that one of these two teams are going to lose. Like one of like one of my expected teams are going to lose, and it's troubling because I halfway want to look at one of these boys because it's just I
It
don't
ain't
know.
going to
Like
be
the
the
40,
49ers, man. It
well,
ain't going to be them,
they've
man.
been healthy. They've been healthy. So hopefully that stays the case. Because if they were healthy last season, I believe they would have got to the Super Bowl. So this season they're healthy. Maybe that holds true. So I mean, I'm not mad at the prediction. Again, Green Bay. There's not going to be a lot of love for Jordan Love in this matchup. But hey, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it turns out. We also got here mm, the Bucks versus the Lions.
Bucks
Ah,
and
see,
Baker, we
brother.
trust.
See, I'm going in Lions. We trust. I'm lying, but in reality, I still don't want Baker to go far, bro. I'm hating. I am wholeheartedly hating. I admit it too. Like Baker, if you win the Super Bowl, tip of the cap to you, bro. But I'm gonna be pissed off because you was just on my team last season.
Hey,
But
you
all
just
right.
needed a reset. Something about them Tampa vibes, man. I'm trying to tell you.
So all right. So because you in Tampa, I'm gonna let you do the soapbox. Is there any reason outside of Baker that you got them winning over the Lions? 15 seconds.
Mike Evans, veteran receiver. You also got I don't know if Chris Godwin is hurt, but if he isn't, you got dual threats on both sides. Also, the defense. I mean, the defense actually has the ability to play the complementary football. You know what I mean? So as long as Baker doesn't turn it over, doesn't shit the bed, I believe they'll be able to eke something out. Now it's a tight matchup. Tight matchup. I mean, the Lions' offensive line is a beast. They got talented backs, everything else like that. So I think it just comes down to playing complementary football and the game plan. I believe a little bit more in Tampa Bay's coaching than Dan Campbell. I mean, he's still learning some of the ropes, even though he's a great coach. But I gotta just lean towards Tampa Bay for my own biases. Also, I believe Mike Evans, man. I think he's gonna have a big game, so I got to go
Okay.
that way.
It's interesting you brought up the coaching part. I haven't done the comparison between the Lions coach and Tampa Bay's coach. Um, but that is an interesting point to bring up as well, because again, coaching does matter. So I mean, that's fair as well. It didn't seem completely biased. I just wanted to get some thoughts. I just wanted to understand your thoughts about it, because again, I haven't watched all of the Buccaneers, because at the beginning of the season I thought they weren't going to be that great. So we see how that turned out. Ooh. All right, and then finally we got to bring up, bro, the Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. Hey, I said Josh Allen, this is y'all time. Does he get over that hump? That he doesn't. He can't get over the
Mahomes,
hump, bro.
bro, he got Mahomes, bro. Like honestly, it's like Batman versus the Joker. I mean, like the Batman kicks ass all the time. Like every now and then he might lose or whatever, but you just can't count him out. You just can't count him out.
You can't count him out. But like, all I'm saying, this seemed like a really good time for this man, Josh Allen, to send Patrick Mahomes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it seems like a really good time to send Patrick Mahomes. So if we can't get it done now, Josh, I don't want to say blow it up. I don't. But like we got to. Like we got to retool. We got to do something. Cuz
It'll
now
be
it's your last chance.
it'll be like the you gotta watch this documentary they played on NFL Network, The Four Falls of Buffalo. I don't know if you ever saw it, where
I
they went
haven't,
to
but I
the
know
Super
it's I
Bowl
know
like back
yeah,
to
I know
back and then just shat the bed. Like so, I don't know. I'm just, maybe something going on with the franchise. We don't know
oh,
who sold they sold to who,
oh
but I
man.
don't
Yeah.
think that they get over the hump, man. I just
That's
don't see it.
that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. But you all right though, cuz 4 Super Bowls, yeah. You lost in all of them. That's
And
tough, bro.
heartbreaking fashion, heartbreaking fashion. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna say Chiefs just because again my track record this year so far has not been that good in this playoff. So I'm pulling for y'all Bills, because this is the last time. Like this is the last go run for y'all. Stephon Diggs might make a trade request next year. You
Come
know what I
on to
mean? Like,
Dallas. Come on to Dallas.
hey, and we talked about that too. Like that could y'all that could be a thing. His brother's there. You know, it makes a lot of sense. So, but yeah, that seems like a solid matchup or solid at least prediction. So just to recap, we did have Green Bay losing, um, Houston losing. Um, you said Tampa winning. I said Detroit winning. Um, and we both got Buffalo winning. I mean Kansas. Well, you said Kansas City. Just to be clear. Okay, and I
I ain't
said
betting against
Buffalo.
Mahomes, man. I ain't doing it.
I'm not mad at you on that. I'm just trying to be optimistic for this man. That's all. Like, because I for the team really, because they're a good team. They're a good team. I just hate to see, dang, you got to end it. But That's just how life happens. You know what I'm saying? Similarly to the show. We just got to end it. You know what I mean? But I do appreciate you, Mark, for coming on to the show, bro. And we will definitely be keeping track on these here playoffs. Do you have anything that you want to say before we close up shop?
Fire McCarthy. That would make my day. Um, yeah. And then
Fire
Dan Quinn,
McCarthy.
your seat is hot. Your seat is hot, boy. Your seat is like a steel chair in the Sahara Desert. It's time to mildew a barbecue.
Okay.
Go
I,
Cowboys.
okay. Nothing about Dak. Okay, so I mean, Dak's
I
in good
can't talk
favor for
about.
you.
I want to, but it's like, man. Yes, you threw some pick sixes. It wasn't your best game, but the defense again. Why are we've made it far playing man? Why get cute and go soft zone?
They did it based on the averages, I think, because they were saying, well,
That sounds
ouch.
like excuses. Like don't let the tape will tell you everything. You know what I'm saying. So like, if we have this success, and then Jordan Love, yes, I mean he's turning out to be a pretty good quarterback, but at the same
Mhm.
time he's still a little green. You would
Yeah,
go man coverage. Why? Because you trust the defensive line to get home and rattle them.
yeah. No, I get
I,
that. I get
you
that.
know,
I
that's
mean,
just me, couch quarterback or whatever you want to call me,
yeah.
lazy linebacker, whatever you want to call me.
Is he linebacker?
But it's just the fact that like, why you switched up your whole game plan to get cute, and then we got just gate open, like you know what I mean, like just like we should file charges for what happened to the run defense.
Call
That's a
Stabler and
felony
Benson
in
and
all
them.
50
I
states.
feel it. I feel it. I feel it. I mean, lessons learned though, because I know the oh my God, which team was it that also did the same thing? The Browns. They played against the Houston. They played against the Texans, and they said, "Hey, we're gonna do this because we know that CJ is what 26 in the league in comparison to like top five or something like that against the blitz. So maybe you go against what got you there as opposed to playing someone else's game. Again, lessons learned. But yeah, I mean, I hear your frustration, brother. I really truly do. Um, Again, I bet money on y'all. So I don't want to talk about too much more because that was tough. I really thought I was gonna have a couple thousand in the pocket. I didn't lose a lot, but in theory, I lost a lot. So, but we'll talk about it another time. We'll talk about it another day. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I hope you all appreciate and have enjoyed the show. Mark, again, I appreciate you sharing your time, brother. And please like, subscribe, comment, tell anyone who's anyone about the show. My name is Trey. I'm the host of Get a Bucket. I hope you all have a good one. Take care.
Oh, I did not know you guys were still here. As you can see, we're at the back end of the show. No pun intended, but look, hope you all enjoyed it. And before you go, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow the IG account, share the content to anybody who's anybody. And most importantly, leave your thoughts and comments below. But I gotta go back and play Buddy in 2K, so let me unmute him real quick. Excuse me. Hey, boss, I'm back. Nah, you better